Okay, so this is going to be a packing tutorial for your permanent patches. Being honest, packing is a pretty easy process. The only thing that can happen is that can get pretty tedious and pretty long when you're doing large patches that involve a lot of doctrines nowadays, because you have to test after every doctrine to make sure the patch was correctly compiled and working. But the little things like hot fixes or attrib archive fixes or data fixes, it's not a hard process. It's pretty fast. It's pretty easy. You just gotta be careful that you don't improperly pack or have a bad pathway, because that would lead to issues in actually running the game. So one important thing to note is when you do pack, you need to first unpack. And what we're unpacking from is the European Ruins archives. So that being the European folders archives. And generally speaking, there's only three main archives we use in EIR for patching. Your attrib archive, which is where all your unit statistics are. Your data archive, which is the linkage between those unit statistics and the game engine via SCAR usually. And your European Ruins data art, which is all your art files and sound files and such. So these are the three main things you're going to be using in your patches and what you're going to be packing. Of course, data art's the largest, so that's the most annoying. And data itself is pretty simple because it's pretty small at just about 8 megabytes. So let's just demo this with the EIR data because it's the smallest. Well, first thing you want to do is make sure you open. Let me close this. Or rather, let me just open a second one. The first thing you want to make sure you do is you don't want to open when you're doing the unpack portion of these patches, because you want to have a baseline to work with when you make these packs, right? Because you don't want to start everything from scratch. So the first thing you want to do is unpack one of these currently existing European Ruins SGAs into a new folder, right? You know, I have these 3 folders on my desktop for the 3 SGAs we generally use, which is the attrib, the data, and the art, right? So let's work with data for now, right? And put these 2 to the side. So we'll work with data for now. And when you unpack, open it up, you don't want to open the module file, right? Because the module file will not have just exclusive contents of that SGA. It'll have all data related or all attrib related contents. And you do not want to pack it into a patch because it will break the mod. You want to load just a single SGA archive. So the only thing you're putting in there is what the archive is supposed to have. So you'll go ahead and you'll go to your company appearance folder. You'll go to the European Ruins archives, and you'll open up that singular archive you want to work with. In this case, European Ruins data. Right, you'll see in here it just has these 4 folders, and that's all you want to work with. So we'll go ahead and extract all these. So you do that by go data, right-clicking and extracting all the files. Go and you find the thing you're going to extract into, which is your data folder. You just made that. Pretty quick, pretty easy. And if you go to that folder now, you'll see there are those 4 files, and they're all easy to edit. Right here, your SCAR files. Shaders, sound, etc. You're not going to really touch these 3 folders. All the work you do in data is generally these SCAR folders, and even then it's just the loop constraints, your miscellaneous SCAR, and your rules SCAR. You really don't want to touch objectives or stat export. Stat export is for those nice stats you see in the launcher, and objectives is of course the core objectives of the game. So generally speaking, you don't want to touch this unless you really know what you're doing. To be honest, even rules and miscellaneous, you don't really want to touch those unless you really know what you're doing. You're just going to be doing mostly copy paste work or input function work. Loop constraints is where you're going to be doing the majority of your work for this, but that's getting away from we're talking about packing here. So what would happen is you'd get a new patch, and your coders would send you data, assuming you're not the main coder. You know, your coders send you data. So for example, Volscanator sent me this nice pack here. So go to data attrib, and you'd go ahead and you just copy paste their work straight into the folder work you have for the pack, right? This is attrib work, so you put this into an attrib folder, but that's how it works, right? You copy paste it over. Now here's one note: if you're taking pack work from multiple coders, you want to make sure their work doesn't overwrite each other's. This generally is only a problem with the eBPS folders and the SBPS folders, because generally speaking, you won't be both coders generally won't be working on the same upgrade or same weapons, right? Usually they'll be working on the eBPS, FCS unit entries. So it's the responsibility of the packer, right, the person doing the packing, to make sure these things do not conflict, that they work and they work together seamlessly and get put together and function. That's simple, but that's basically, you know, you'll get to that as you get to that, right? But overall, all you're doing is a lot of copy paste work from folders, along with testing after every attempt in your simulated environment. I'll put a tutorial up, an updated tutorial for simulation of the EIR environment. But after every pack you do, you want to do that. So let's say you've done all your stuff, you entered all your new SCAR into your data folder. How do you pack it again? Again, it's pretty simple. You just go to your Cortex, and in mod SGA packer, you'll want to go ahead and just go to where that is. In this case, ER data, and you just want to click on the root folder. You do not want to click on anything underneath. That way, preserve your file structure in Cortex and in the archive. Right? You just want to click on the root folder that you created yourself. So, okay, then go ahead and you want to rename. You want to save it and rename this so that's the exact copy of what European currently uses. So you'd want to be European data, and it should be an exact copy of that. I'll go ahead and call this data tutorial since we aren't actually using it, and I'll go ahead and save that, create, and there you go. You've got your SGA created. Pretty simple. And you just pack this and you send it over to Tank 130 or whoever may be running the mod, and they will put this into the game. So that there's a simple packing tutorial. It's not that hard. It's really simple. It's just time consuming if it's a large patch. It's nothing hard. Right, it's not anything complicated. Anybody can do this. It's super simple. It's just you have to be willing to take the time to test after every pack entry. And that's it.